Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a truly massive shift happening in the business world. Digital transformation used to just be about the technology, right? Upgrading servers, migrating to the cloud, but honestly, that just doesn't cut it anymore. Today, it's about creating organizations that are sustainable, responsible, and actually ready for the future. Digital transformation and ESG, which stands for environmental, social, and governance principles, well, they are no longer running on separate tracks. They've completely merged into one unified strategic imperative. So let's dive into how these two massive forces are feeding into each other to create the ultimate modern enterprise.
Okay, I want to start by throwing a question out there that might totally flip your perspective. Ask yourself, does technology drive sustainability, or does sustainability actually drive technology? Historically, we've kind of just assumed that if you buy better tech, you automatically get greener, right? But recent research reveals a fascinating paradigm flip. It's this hidden gem called reverse causality. Basically, wanting to go green and setting incredibly strict ESG mandates literally forces organizations to buy, build, and adopt better technology. The demand for sustainability is the actual engine driving tech adoption today.
To really frame the stakes here, I want you to hear this brilliant quote from Simi Demisia of Ionos. She says, "Enterprises do not need more AI ambition. They need a partner who can make AI real across their entire business." This insight comes directly from the recent strategic alliance between Ionos and Black Box. And the absolute core message is that real-world outcomes require execution. Ambition is great, but it's not enough. You can't just talk a big game about being sustainable or digitally advanced. You have to physically build the AI-ready infrastructure to measure, report, and optimize your impact across the globe.
So, let's look a bit closer at that reverse causality idea, because the data here is just wild. Having superior ESG performance actually acts as this massive positive market signal. When a company scores high on ESG, they significantly reduce their capital constraints. We're talking about attracting preferential investments, locking down government subsidies, and securing way better loan terms thanks to green financial policies. That financial edge creates the exact resource slack a firm needs to afford those super high-cost, high-risk digital upgrades. By being good at ESG, they literally unlock the bank vault to buy next-generation tech.
All right, here's our quick roadmap for today. We'll kick things off with this new era of business, explore exactly why ESG drives digitalization, check out the tech enabling it all, dive into smart infrastructure, tackle the growing e-waste problem, and then wrap up with a vision of the sustainable enterprise of 2030. Let's jump right in.
Starting with Section 1, a new era of business. Today's corporate leaders are facing a totally new challenge. How do you grow digitally, but remain environmentally responsible, socially impactful, and ethically governed? Well, it breaks down into three core pillars. On the environmental side, it's all about crushing carbon emissions, maximizing energy efficiency, and handling e-waste. But crucially, we can't forget the social impact, improving employee well-being, driving community equity, and ensuring digital inclusion so that this tech actually serves everyone. And finally, governance, building unshakable data privacy, cybersecurity, and ethical AI leadership. Those three pillars, they are the absolute new foundation of corporate value.
Moving right along to Section 2. Why ESG drives digitalization. We already know ESG unlocks funding, but it also physically alters the DNA of how a company operates. Let's see how committing to these guidelines basically forces an organization to build some highly advanced corporate survival skills.
Researchers actually call these dynamic capabilities. First up is adaptive capability. When you have to align with constantly shifting environmental rules, it trains your enterprise to quickly sense external changes and completely reconfigure operations, often pushing companies toward incredibly flexible cloud architectures. Second is absorptive capability. To comply with strict ESG reporting, you have to ingest, clean, and standardize data across every single department. That alone trains the firm to handle massive big data analytics. And finally, innovation capability. Designing products to minimize environmental footprints breeds this vital culture of technological risk-taking.
Okay, into Section 3, technology as an ESG enabler. Now, what's really fascinating here is looking at the actual frameworks making this all possible. How do we take all those good intentions and turn them into hard, measurable, auditable data? The secret lies in how we manage enterprise information. Think about how data flows through a financial shared service center, or FSSC. On one end, you have data acquisition coming in from external platforms and tons of IoT sensors, like smart meters and facility monitors.
All that chaotic raw data flows straight into the core of the FSSC, where big data and AI get to work processing it. Finally, it's transformed into strategic empowerment. We're talking predictions, early warnings, and rock-solid compliance reporting. The FSSC acts like a central nervous system, turning a mess of environmental data into razor-sharp business strategy.
So how do you actually build that? Well, there's a clear three-stage roadmap. Stage 1 is foundation building, creating your data lakes and getting those IoT sensors deployed. Stage 2 is process embedding. This is where you bring in robotic process automation, or RPA, to automate carbon accounting and literally embed ESG risk nodes directly into your procurement workflows. Then, Stage 3 is intelligent decision-making, unleashing AI and machine learning to give you early warnings on environmental risks and run strategic simulations. That is the exact playbook for building a digital ESG powerhouse.
All right, Section 4, Smart Infrastructure and Industry 4.0. Let's pull this out of the digital realm and look at the physical world. How are these digital frameworks physically reshaping our factories, our buildings, and our cities?
I really want to highlight this massive number, over 2 trillion Indian rupees. To put that into perspective, that is a staggering amount of capital. It's the projected investment for India's Smart Cities mission, which aims to develop 100 smart cities. This proves that this shift is happening at a mind-boggling scale right now. These megaprojects are realizing that physical infrastructure absolutely must be digitally monitored if we want to optimize resource usage, slash carbon footprints, and manage dense urban populations sustainably.
And we are seeing this across every major sector. In healthcare, telemedicine, and secure clouds aren't just making zero-waste paperless hospitals possible, they're radically broadening remote clinical access and driving true digital equity. In travel, AI route optimization is totally optimizing fleet fuel costs and drastically cutting transit carbon footprints. In Industry 4.0, digital twins and ERP platforms are driving ethical material tracking, while predictive maintenance stops expensive downtime before it happens and slashes factory emissions. Technology gives us the visibility to make these sectors highly efficient and deeply sustainable.
But hey, it's not just giant factories and mega hospitals doing the heavy lifting. The true scalability of a smart city relies on connected, decentralized nodes. Think about smart buildings using real-time occupancy sensors to aggressively minimize commercial electricity use. Think about smart utilities monitoring every drop of water and puff of gas. And, critically, decentralized smart homes. When thousands of households use IoT networks to automate their climate controls based on the weather, their collective action actually acts as a massive shock absorber for the municipal grid. It literally prevents brownouts and reduces our reliance on high-emission power plants.
Moving into Section 5, Circular IT and E-Waste. We really have to confront the physical cost of the digital age here, which brings us to the absolutely critical shift towards circular IT.
50 million metric tons. Let that sink in. That is the amount of highly toxic e-waste generated globally every single year, and it is the absolute fastest-growing waste stream on the planet. As we push the pedal to the metal on digital transformation, we simply cannot keep blindly buying servers and laptops, using them for a bit, and tossing them in a landfill. That completely contradicts everything ESG stands for. We urgently, desperately need a new model for how we manage hardware.
And here is the game changer. We have to break away from the destructive, old-school linear model of simply take, make, use, and dispose. Instead, we have to embrace a circular economy. Procure, use, refurbish, recover, and recycle. The core idea is incredibly simple. Keep products and materials in use for as long as humanly possible, at their absolute highest value. That means embracing concepts like device as a service, repairing the gear we already have, and partnering with certified IT asset disposition experts to properly recycle the stuff we really can't save.
Now, if you have stakeholders asking, yeah, but does this actually make financial sense? You show them ROSI, Return on Sustainable IT. It's a brilliantly simple formula. You tally up your operational savings, your capital expenditure recovery, which is the cash you get back by refurbishing and reselling your old tech, and the tangible value of your ESG compliance. Then, you divide all of that by your initial sustainable investment. The data is clear. Keeping devices in play longer generates hard, undeniable financial returns alongside massive environmental benefits. Going green is literally just good business.
Let's wrap up our explainer today with Section 6, Vision 2030. Where is this incredible convergence of tech and sustainability taking us over the next decade? The future absolutely belongs to organizations that can blend cutting-edge innovation with deep responsibility. We are marching toward a world of true net-zero enterprises, where AI-powered sustainability is squeezing the most out of every single watt of energy. We're going to see fully circular technology ecosystems where e-waste is basically a relic of the past. Smart cities will be built on a foundation of green IT infrastructure that seamlessly supports our connected communities. Ultimately, responsible innovation won't just be a nice-to-have, it will be the absolute baseline standard.
Before we go, I want to leave you with one final, provocative question to chew on. When you look at the digital initiatives happening in your own organization, ask yourself, are you growing just to get bigger, or are you growing to get better? Because moving forward, driving digital transformation without an ESG lens is really just adding cables and cost. True transformation means utilizing technology to build a smarter, greener, and overwhelmingly resilient future. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I will catch you in the next one.